5 years ago, if you'd told me I'd be living in a $50 million penthouse with Central Park at my feet, I would have laughed in your face. Back then, I was just Michael Chin, the family letdown, holed up in my parents' basement, lost in code, while my older brother David climbed the sleek glass tower of Goldman Sachs. Still wasting time down there? My father's voice thundered down the stairs. David just made junior partner. What have you done today? I quickly minimized the terminal window, lines of code still glowing faintly. Code that would one day power Nexus Technologies. I'm working on something important, I muttered. He appeared moments later, each click of his polished shoes like a countdown. You dropped out of business school to play with computers. You're 24, Michael, living rent-free. Meanwhile, David is managing portfolios worth more than this house. I tried to explain. Blockchain, data security, a protocol that could reshape the internet. But he didn't want explanations, he wanted results. At dinner, my mom slid a folded job listing across the table. David's firm is hiring analysts. He can recommend you. I pushed it back. I'm close to a beta launch, just need a few more months. Months? My father barked. We've given you years. David sipped his wine, smirking. Not everyone's built for the real world, Dad. Some people just hide behind screens. I clenched my fork, remembering how I'd coached him through math in college, debugged his first Python script. Now he wore a suit and I wore shame. Michael, my mother said gently, you had so much promise. An MBA, connections, we gave you everything. I don't want connections, I snapped. I want to build something that matters. My protocol could protect millions. Enough, my father stood. Either you take the job or move out. No more freeloading. The silence felt like a verdict. My mother stared at her plate. David looked victorious. Fine, I said quietly. I'll go. Don't be ridiculous, Mom called after me, but I was already halfway down the stairs. I'd planned for this. Within the hour, everything I owned, my laptop, backups, years of work, was packed into a single suitcase and backpack. You're seriously leaving? David leaned in the doorway as I loaded my car. All for some code? It's not just code, I said, slamming the trunk. You wouldn't get it. He shrugged. When you fail, and you will, don't expect me to clean it up. That's what big brothers are for, right? I didn't answer, just drove off. In the mirror, I caught a glimpse of my parents at the window. Too late now. That night, I crashed on my best friend Tom's couch. They kicked you out? He handed me a beer. Over Nexus? If they only knew. They'll know soon, I said. The prototype's almost there. Good, Tom said, because I might have a lead, private investor, offbeat, but smart. 2 days later, I met Sarah Winters in a dingy coffee shop. Torn jeans, faded hoodie, chipped laptop. Show me, she said. 4 hours, I walked her through the architecture, how Nexus could transform digital security. She was sharp, asked the tough questions, found holes I hadn't seen. I'm in, she said, snapping her laptop shut. 5 million, 20% equity. I blinked. 5 million? She smiled. I sold my last startup for 2 billion. This is pocket change, if you're legit. A week later, I had an office, not a basement, a real office. Tom quit his job to become CTO. Sarah opened doors I didn't know existed. We hired a dream team. 18 months blurred into sleepless nights, coffee-fueled code, bugs, breakthroughs, and rebuilds. I slept on an air mattress under my desk. Every failure echoed with my father's voice. Every win silenced David's smirk. Then it happened, the breakthrough. Our protocol didn't just work, it changed the game. Tech giants called, government agencies showed up. The same investors who'd ghosted us were suddenly begging for meetings. Nexus Technologies Series A closed at $100 million. The second funding round brought in $500 million. But I stayed in the shadows. Sarah remained the public face of Nexus, while I operated behind the curtain. The mysterious founder became a favorite subject for tech blogs and speculation forums, but no one connected him to the quiet dropout once exiled from his parents' basement. I bought the penthouse because Sarah insisted I needed a place that reflects what you've built, but I rarely slept there. My real home was the office, where code still whispered louder than applause. Then, one morning, Tom burst into my office, pale and breathless. Michael, you need to see this. He handed me his tablet. The headline hit like a thunderclap. Goldman Sachs suffers massive data breach. Millions of client records compromised. And just beneath it, David Chin, junior partner, under investigation for protocol negligence. The golden child had ignored every warning about his outdated systems Nexus could have secured months ago, if not for his veto. As I read, my phone buzzed. A text from my mother, our first contact in 5 years. David's in trouble, please come home, we need to talk. I leaned back in my chair, Manhattan skyline glittering in the distance. Tomorrow, Nexus would unveil its new security suite, already quietly adopted by every major bank except Goldman, thanks to David. Tomorrow, the world would learn that the faceless genius behind a $20 billion empire was the same wasted potential they'd thrown out of their house. I typed one line, I'll be there. The street looked smaller than I remembered. My Tesla glided silently to a stop in front of the house I'd once called home. Everything looked pristine, unchanged, except me. Tom's voice crackled in my earpiece. The press release is locked and scheduled for 9 a.m. Hold it? No, I said, watching my father pace behind the window. They should know before the rest of the world does. I stepped out, adjusting the black cashmere sweater that cost more than my father's sedan. Subtle, expensive, deliberate. The door opened before I could knock. Michael. My mother pulled me into a desperate hug. Thank God, David's in the study, he's a mess. I stepped inside. Same photos lined the walls, David's graduations, promotions. My achievements were still missing, tucked away in storage with my high school trophies and childhood drawings. In the study, David slouched in our father's old leather chair. His tailored suit was wrinkled, face drawn, voice brittle. Come to gloat, little brother? I sat across from him. 12 million client records. That's not just a bad day, David, that's catastrophic. My father cut in. The fines alone could bury us. It's the end of David's career, our name. My phone buzzed. A message from Sarah. CNBC wants you live. Confirm? No comment. I looked back at the men who dismissed me for years. There might be a way out, I said. David leaned forward. You have money, connections, you've been coding, right? Some tech work, I repeated, a faint smile playing at my lips. My father sighed. If you're not here to offer a real solution, Michael, don't waste our time. You should have finished your MBA. The grandfather clock chimed 9. All three of our phones buzzed simultaneously. David looked down first, and went pale. Nexus Technologies unveils revolutionary cybersecurity suite. Founder revealed, Michael Chin. Net worth estimated at $15 billion. My father snatched his phone. My mother gasped. David looked like he'd seen a ghost. This is a joke, he whispered. You, the dropout? I held his gaze. Yes, the basement-dwelling disappointment. Also, the founder and CEO of Nexus Technologies. My father collapsed into a chair. 15 billion? 20, I corrected. The market opened strong. I pulled out my laptop. Want to see what I was building back then? The waste of time that could have saved your bank? For the next 30 minutes, I gave the same pitch I'd once delivered in a dingy coffee shop, but this time, I wasn't wearing hand-me-downs. I wasn't looking for a favor. I was offering a lifeline. Nexus's protocol would have stopped this breach. We offered it to Goldman 6 months ago. I looked at David. You blocked it, called us a glorified startup. David's voice cracked. I didn't know. I didn't think. No, I said, you never did. I never thought your useless little brother could build something worthwhile. My mother reached out, gently touching my arm. Michael, we were wrong, so terribly wrong. Can you ever forgive us? I walked to the window, the same one I used to stare through while they celebrated David's every milestone. Forgiveness isn't the issue, trust is. 4 or 5 years, you never reached out, never wondered if I might succeed. You chose your version of success over your son. We can fix this, my father said quickly. As a family, your company, your connections, we could work together. No. The word landed like a hammer in the silence. I didn't come here to merge our worlds. I came to offer a choice. I opened my briefcase and laid out 3 documents on the table. Option 1, Nexus licenses its security protocol to Goldman Sachs at market rate, $300 million. David keeps his job, though demoted, the family name survives. They leaned forward, hope flickered in their eyes. I raised a hand. Option 2. I acquire controlling interest through a hostile takeover, already underway. The clients are protected, but the Chin family legacy is erased. David's voice cracked. You wouldn't. Like you wouldn't sabotage my investor meetings or leak misinformation to the press? I stared at him. I have the emails, David. My father stood, trying to summon the authority he used to wield. You're bluffing, even with your money. The board wouldn't. 6 members are already committed, I said, while you dismissed me as a failure. I built the relationships that actually matter. Silence fell, only the hum of my laptop filled the room. On its screen, Nexus's stock climbed higher. Why are you doing this? My mother asked quietly. Because success isn't just money, it's integrity, vision, things this family forgot long ago. I gathered the documents and closed my case. You have until midnight, my lawyers are waiting. David stood quickly. Wait, we're still family, you can't just. Family? I turned to face him. Family supports each other, family believes. You weren't my family, you were my critics, my obstacles. I paused. The people who stood by me, they're my family now. My phone rang. Sarah's name flashed across the screen. The markets are going wild, she said. You're needed back at HQ. I'll be there soon. I glanced at the faces that once doubted me. Midnight, choose wisely. As I stepped outside, it felt nothing like 5 years ago. Then, I'd been angry, desperate, raw. Now, I was resolute. My phone buzzed. Tom again. They're calling about the decision. What should I tell them? I looked back once. Tell them the truth. Because the greatest force in the world isn't money, it's resolve, the kind that refuses to bend under someone else's doubt. At midnight, the decision arrived by courier. They chose option 1. Survival over pride. A smart choice. The next morning, as I signed the deal from my Manhattan office, Sarah walked in with coffee, in a chipped ceramic mug. Is that the one from your parents' basement? She asked, smiling. Keeping it as a reminder? I ran a thumb along the fracture. No, as a testament to every person ever told they'd never make it, because sometimes, the basement is just the beginning. Across the city, my parents watched me on CNBC, unveiling the future of cybersecurity. My mother cried. My father said nothing. David probably turned off the TV. But I wasn't watching. I was back in the lab, building the next thing. Because success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right, again and again, until your work speaks louder than anyone's doubt ever could. The kid they cast out now ran an empire. But more importantly, he built something that mattered. And that was worth more than all the billions in the world.